Today, we're going to tackle something foundational. We're going to get right to the heart of some core spiritual and non-dual ideas about who you are, what reality is, and, how to find a sense of effortless peace in all of it. Our mission here is to distill the most crucial recurring insights to cut through the noise. So let's jump right in with what is probably the most counterintuitive starting point you'll ever hear. Usually when you think about self-improvement, you think about adding something, right? Acquiring a new skill, gaining more knowledge, becoming a better person. This wisdom, it flips that completely on its head. It says the journey isn't about becoming anything new. It's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you. The highest truth is found by deleting, not adding. It's this process of emptying out all your ideas, your feelings, your beliefs, everything. And when that total emptiness is there, realization is just present. Not because you filled a void, but because that emptiness was your true nature all along. Of course, that immediately brings up the question of what exactly are we emptying out? And that leads us straight to the illusion of the self and our relationship with our own mind. You see, the mind is a superb instrument when we use it correctly. It's incredible. The problem is, most of the time we don't use the mind. The mind uses us. And when it's in charge, it can become, pretty destructive. We tend to think that the mind's natural state is thought, but it's not. The mind is really just a bundle of thoughts. Its natural state is actually silence. And that bundle of thoughts creates a central character, the ego. The ego is the source of pretty much all conflict. It's that nagging feeling that something is always wrong with you or with the world. There's this great analogy that the ego is like a terrified child that just loves drama. It's constantly creating these scenarios of fear and doubt just to pull you into the chaos because it thrives on complexity. And that's why the truth, which is supposedly simple and obvious, can feel so impossibly far away. The mind keeps complicating things to survive. So what are these complications? What are these false identities we cling to? They feel incredibly real, don't they? The most common ones are, our possessions, the work we do, our social status, our knowledge, our relationships, our personal history, our belief systems. The list goes on and on. But the core teaching here is that none of these things, whether they're collective or personal, are the true self. It's a shocking idea. But even the concept of being a person is described as just a thought, a memory, a habit, a fiction that suffers. The only real problem is believing that you are your body or the doer of your actions or your mind. And if you can solve that one core problem of the I, all the other problems, they just vanish with it because they were just symptoms of that first mistake. So if you're not your body, not your emotions, not your intellect, what's left? Well, what's left is pure awareness, infinite, formless, the eternal witness that is watching all of that stuff, the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations just pass by. When all of that other noise gets quiet, the true self just reveals itself. It was there the whole time. Okay, so that's the theory. How do we actually experience this? How do we make the shift? This brings us to the path of stillness and non-action. The core instruction is basically to stop trying so hard. A key insight is this. When the mind subsides, the whole world subsides with it. Think about a still lake. It reflects the sky and the mountains perfectly, right? But a chalky lake, a windy lake, it only reflects its own distortion. A silent mind is that still lake. It reflects reality as it is. And the highest way to get there is summed up in this little phrase, do nothing, just be a har. I know, it sounds like extreme laziness. It goes against everything our culture teaches. But doing nothing here isn't about passivity. It's about letting go of mental striving. In that state of pure being, everything that needs to happen, it just happens, naturally. It requires being quiet in the mind, quiet in the senses, and quiet in the body. When all three are still, the truth just shows up on its own. The classic tool for this is self-inquiry, specifically the question, who am I? But the trick is, you're not supposed to find an answer. The question isn't meant to get a reply, it's designed to dissolve the one who is asking the question. It's a tool to turn your attention back on itself. The goal is to stop thinking about the self and to just be the self, to become aware of that consciousness that's left when the thoughts finally stop. And for a practice to carry through your day, it's simply to be aware of the pure feeling of I am, full stop. Just I am. Don't follow it with I am tired or I am happy or I am a CEO. Just rest in that fundamental awareness of existence. That's the anchor. And this path, it requires transcending everything, even the good stuff. Whatever you experience, pleasure or fear, you can't get content with it. You have to keep asking, who is feeling this? You have to keep going until both pleasure and fear are seen as just experiences passing through you and only reality remains. Even the final obstacle in meditation, which is often described as ecstasy or bliss, even that is just another experience. It's a beautiful one, sure, but you have to pass through it to reach what's called great calm. And that great calm is considered higher than bliss because it's permanent. It's the stable ground beneath all possible experiences. So how does all this translate into just living your life? This is where we get into surrender and acceptance. The biggest obstacle to freedom is our illusion of control. We think we're running the show, but we're being breathed. Our hearts are beating on their own. The planet is spinning without our help. Resisting the natural flow of life only creates sorrow. The mandate is just to let things flow. This means embracing uncertainty. It means recognizing that the feeling of being the doer is false. There's this idea that the activities your body is meant to go through are sort of determined. So your freedom doesn't lie in changing those external events. The only real freedom you have is to turn your mind inward and renounce the feeling of being the doer in there. It means moving over from the driver's seat, letting autopilot engage, and just trusting the process. You are the observer of what happens, not the initiator. Now this brings us to a really tough topic. Suffering. Why is there suffering if reality is just pure, calm awareness? The teaching here is that suffering is necessary, but only until you realize it's unnecessary. For the seeker, suffering is actually a kind of grace. It's like a fire designed to burn away all your attachments. You're clinging to pleasure, you're clinging to avoiding pain. Suffering is like a bright spotlight. It shows you exactly where you're still identified, where you're still attached. And here's the most powerful part. You can't actually suffer the past or the future. They don't exist. What you suffer is your memory of the past and your imagination of the future. The moment you bring your attention fully and completely into the present, the suffering, it just collapses. So what's the core message in all of this, the big takeaway? It's just simplicity. There is nothing to seek or find because nothing was ever lost. The whole process is about relaxation, observation, and stillness. It's about allowing reality, which is always here, to finally emerge without your mind's distortions. The mind that seeks is the mind that suffers. When you let go of the concepts, the seeker, the goal, the identity, you find nothing. And in that nothing, you find everything. So I'll leave you with a final thought to carry with you. If you really accept this idea that all external events, the tragedies and the comedies of your life are just images playing on the screen of consciousness, and that your true nature is the screen itself, which is always real, always untouched, what fundamental difference does it make to your reality if the image is labeled tragedy or comedy? And how does accepting that distinction, really accepting it, shift your experience of this very moment? Something to think about, or maybe something to stop thinking about and just be with.